Government considers imposing a 6-month cap on freight to pre-COVID-19 period. We'll have details to this story and more in the national report. With the details to the news for Tuesday, September 6, 2022, I am Christian Mitchell. The government of Grenada will present a proposal to Cabinet early next week to cap the rate of freight at post-COVID-19 levels. This will see that custom duties and other charges reflect 2019 rates. During the government's post-cabinet briefing on Tuesday, Prime Minister Honorable Deacon Mitchell told members of the media that the cap will be effective for 6 months in the first instance until March 2023. He explained that this decision was taken after recently meeting with members of the business community who, since the COVID-19 pandemic, have been affected by high duties and taxes and the rising cost of supplies on the world market.
We are optimistic that the Cabinet will approve the proposal. The proposal will be for 6 months in the first instance, from the 1st of October 2022, obviously to the end of March 2023, at which time we will review the process. The projections indicate that the government will be losing significant revenue as a result of that, as much as $4 million. We appreciate that it is not an easy decision to make for the government, but we recognize the government must be first about the citizens and the challenges the citizens face. And all governments at this time are taking measures, at least on a temporary basis, until inflation gets under control and until freight prices stabilize and decrease.
Government anticipates that once this decision is approved by Cabinet, the business community will pass the savings on to consumers.
If the government takes the decision to cap the freight rates back at 2019 levels, we expect that the business community will do the right thing and pass on those savings to the consumers and to the citizens of the country. This measure will only be of benefit, particularly to the citizens and the final end consumers, if the business community does the right thing. We have heeded the call by the business community to, in fact, cap the rates at 2019 levels. I distinctly recall at my engagement with the Chamber of Commerce that one of the members made that very point. And during the election campaign, many of the business community were involved in the wholesale and retail business and the importation of goods business, specifically made that recommendation. So we've heeded that recommendation. We therefore expect that the business community will do the right thing and to pass on those benefits and savings to our citizens.
The Customs Department and Ministry of Finance will provide further information as to how the process will move forward. Government will invest millions in providing relief and support to unemployed Grenadians, new and existing small businesses, and seed beneficiaries through the launch of Phase 3 of the COVID-19 Economic Support Stimulus Package Program. The program will run from September 1st to December 31st, 2022. Prime Minister Honorable Deacon Mitchell explained that $3.1 million will be used to extend the seed program, $2.2 million to provide temporary unemployment benefits, and $30,000 for support to micro, small, and medium enterprises. $10 million is available for disbursement under the small business funding. The Prime Minister says the grant funding for MSMEs targets the productive sectors.
This $30,000 is going to be processed through the acronym CES, or the COVID Economic Support Secretariat, which Ms. Andrews is the deputy head of at the moment. We will be targeting beneficiaries who would have been impacted negatively by COVID, particularly in the productive sectors. So we are including farmers, agro-processors, fishermen, fisherwomen, persons in the cottage industry. We are targeting persons who already have a small business and may need some capital injection, as well as persons who would have lost their jobs as a result of COVID-19 and wish to start their small, micro, or medium-sized business eventually. The aim is to have these funds disbursed from September to December of 2022. It is a grant, which means that the beneficiaries are not required to repay the monies to the government. Our expectation is that the grant funding will be used to assist persons in starting their businesses, as the case may be, or in supporting the businesses that already exist.
This phase of the stimulus package will adopt a different format by providing financial support through capital incentives and concessions. VAT and custom duties will be waived, and technical training and assistance will be provided at the request of the entrepreneurs.
We are also going to ensure that customs duties, particularly the common external tariff and the VAT, that will be charged on any equipment that a person may need as part of this $30,000 grant, is waived. So if, and I'm just giving a mere example, if someone, for example, has a small baking business and they may require some specific piece of equipment to help increase production, and that equipment has to be bought, then we would be in a position to pay for the equipment for them directly. If that equipment has to be imported into Grenada, then the CET and the VAT on that equipment would be waived. That is the kind of support that we want to provide with the program.
Deputy Project Coordinator of the COVID-19 Economic Support and Secretariat, Chinel Andrews, shared details on the unemployment benefits. She said forms can be obtained from CES offices at the National Stadium and District Revenue Office at Hillsborough, Carriacou.
That program targets persons who were laid off as a result of the COVID pandemic and have not gained full employment to date. We know everybody cannot start a small business. Sometimes you start it, but you don't have ideas yet. So you may have your layoff letter from your previous employer and you're still at home. You can apply for the temporary unemployment benefit, which would be extended for the period September to December. We also would have forms available electronically online on our website, which is finance.gd. We have a web page. You just click on the CES banner and it will direct you to the CES page. Now, the application forms is not available as yet, but it would be available by the end of the day. So we would make a public announcement when the electronic forms are available. Persons can also email us at covideconomicstimulus@gmail.com, and we can also email them back a copy of the application forms.
This is the National Report. The news will continue after the break.
Prepare for hurricane. Prepare for hurricane. Make sure you have your radio and your batteries too. Waterproof flashlight candles will do. Tin stuff, garbage bag, first aid kit. Come on people, make sure you have it. Clean water in a container and a hurricane plan. Hear me no man.
Hurricane damage is beyond your control. Surviving the aftermath is up to you. Have a hurricane plan. It can save your life and your family too.
Prepare for hurricane. Your hair, prepare for hurricane.
The Deacon Mitchell-led administration has announced an extension of measures that were implemented by the previous government to mitigate against the high cost of living. Effective September 1st to December 31st, 2022, government will maintain the zero rating of value-added tax on electricity consumption for domestic consumers with usage of up to 500 kilowatts. The capped price of the 20-pound cylinder of LPG cooking gas will remain at $40.
The government will continue to maintain the removal of the environmental levy for domestic consumers with usage of up to 500 kilowatts until December 2022, and that's in relation to electricity consumption. In relation to the price of cooking gas, or what is known as the LPG 20-pound cylinders, the government has again taken the decision to continue to maintain the fixed price of the LPG gas at $40 per bottle.
Government Prime Minister Honorable Deacon Mitchell said is also reviewing and assessing other measures that were implemented to ensure that, if extended, will not negatively impact the growth of the economy. These decisions resulted in huge financial debt and loss of revenue for both the government and the Grenada electricity company, GrenLec.
The prior administration had capped the retail price per gallon of fuel at the pump to $15 per gallon. At the next post-cabinet briefing, we will make an announcement as to whether that will remain in place or whether we will remove the cap. And if we do, what are the measures we will take to assist with ameliorating the price of fuel at the pump. The prior administration had taken a decision to discount the non-fuel charge per kilowatt of electricity for GrenLec consumers by 25%. We will also be making an announcement after the next cabinet meeting as to the government's position on this. In relation to the 25% reduction of the non-fuel charge per kilowatt, that GrenLec has lost over or not collected over $11 million as a result of that measure. I should also point out that in relation to the cap on fuel prices, that the government is now owing the suppliers of fuel close to $1 million as a result of that. So those measures which have been taken to ease the cost of living do have significant financial, fiscal consequences for the government.
Students of 1 St. Andrew's Primary School returned to newly constructed facilities at the school's location at Progress Park on Monday, the first day of the Michaelmas term. More in this Annette Moore report.
Students and staff of the St. Andrew's Anglican Primary School will no longer be at the temporary structure on Victoria Street in Granville. The original school building, which sits nearby, was damaged by Hurricane Ivan in 2004 and then destroyed by fire. Staff and students have used a temporary school facility in Granville for more than a decade, while waiting for the school to be rebuilt. Now the arrangements are finally in progress for the new permanent structure on the school's original site next to the Anglican Church in Granville. Therefore, the temporary school building had to be relocated.
We are just looking forward to make our students comfortable and to continue to improve on what happens at St. Andrew's Primary School.
At the current facilities, acting principal Jennifer Rodney Lewis says students have begun the process of settling into their new location.
Very fun and nice. The only person I want to tell you about is Sophia. She's nice. Every time I go into school, when I go into school and I didn't have any space to go in my seat, she makes some space for me.
Rodney Lewis identified several opportunities created by the move to Progress Park.
We as teachers, we are very happy because at this point, every teacher has a class which they can design to accommodate their students. And this in itself is a plus that the teachers have welcomed. The facility is a bit bigger. The rooms and so are a bit bigger. We also have toilet facility that is up to date, very modern. And this in itself is a plus because this is one of the biggest challenges we had at St. Andrew, at Grenville, sorry. So we are happy for that. We have our kitchen facilities also, which has been an upgrade to where we were operating from. So although it is temporary, we are very, very much pleased with what we have at this point.
Rodney Lewis says there are a few immediate challenges, such as the installation of permanent electricity and internet services, but she does not expect these to exist for long.
Parents and students are very happy with the school. They are all excited.
She says parents' concerns mainly revolved around the need to install ceilings to reduce heat and noise from rainfall and the need for some students to take an extra bus to school. There will be discussions to see how these two issues can be addressed. Ricky Aberdeen, a teacher for 38 years at that school, shared his feedback about the relocation.
To me, some of them was looking forward to it because of it as a clean area, the space to run around and so on. And a lot of them live in close proximity to the park, so I think a lot of them welcome it and they settle down quite nicely.
He is thrilled that they can now use the nearby playing field.
Our children were deprived of physical education to a great extent, so I'm very happy that now we have Progress Park in close proximity that we'll be able to resume our physical education sessions. Apart from that, the location is sort of conducive for learning because of its serenity.
Despite the very long wait, Rodney Lewis is hopeful that this time the promise of new permanent school facilities will be a reality.
We have looked at the drawings and we have seen a model facility in the drawing, and that has also been discussed. So we are looking forward to a model school for St. Angelican Primary School in the not too distant future.
The school's population at maximum capacity is 400 students. The new structure is expected to accommodate at least 25 students per class.
Normally we have 3 of each grade. So we are looking at 21 grades.
While we are willing to adjust and adapt to the settings here, we very much like to have our permanent home reestablished.
I just want to express our gratitude. I express gratitude on behalf of the staff, the parents and the students, to the Ministry of Education for the dedication towards education and taking the students and teachers, the students of the nation interest into consideration and making that move to start the process of a new facility for St. Angelican Primary School. We are hopeful that this would bring the change that we are all looking forward to.
For the National Report, I'm Annette Moore.
Thank you, Annette. That report has brought us to the end of the National Report for today, September 6, 2022. On behalf of the entire news and production team here at the Government Information Service, I am Kristen Mitchell saying thank you for joining us.